Good morning, class. In our previous classes, we have discussed post-Mendelian genetics, other patterns of inheritance and their genetic expression. We have talked about incomplete dominance, codominance and multiple alleles. Today we are going to talk about pleiotropic genes and pleiotropy. Now, you know, normally one gene expresses one character. One gene has two alternative forms and both are responsible for the expression of one character. But if one gene expresses more than several phenotypic characters or traits, such a gene is called a pleiotropic gene and the phenomenon is called pleiotropy. I repeat, normally one gene expresses one character, but if one gene expresses several phenotypic characters, then in that case the gene is a pleiotropic gene and the phenomenon is called pleiotropy. So, what is pleiotropy? Pleiotropy is a phenomenon which is because of pleiotropic genes. And what are pleiotropic genes? Pleiotropic gene is that gene which expresses several phenotypic traits, which expresses several phenotypic traits, and the phenomenon is called pleiotropy. Now, this pleiotropic gene can be lethal if it affects a vital function. So, the pleiotropic gene can be lethal. Lethal means dangerous, fatal, can even lead to death if it affects a vital function. Common examples of pleiotropy. That we have to study. First is phenylketonuria. Second is sickle cell anemia. And the third is starch synthesis in peas. So these are the three examples that we have to study which are in our syllabus. So one by one we will be dealing with them. First, let us do phenylketonuria. Phenylketonuria is abbreviated as PKU. And this is because of an abnormal gene in the homozygous recessive condition. Recessive condition. And this is an inborn disorder. Right from birth, this order is there because of a homozygous recessive condition of the gene. Now, what happens in phenylketonuria? The individual having this abnormal gene lacks an enzyme called phenylalanine hydroxylase. Now, the function of this enzyme is to convert phenylalanine into tyrosine. And tyrosine is a precursor. It forms, after several reactions, it forms the pigment melanin. So tyrosine is a precursor of melanin pigment. Melanin, you know, is the pigment which gives color to skin, hair, eyes, etc. So this pigment is formed because of tyrosine, which is a precursor, and tyrosine is formed from phenylalanine. So if this enzyme is lacking, is absent, this reaction will not take place. Tyrosine will not be formed, melanin will not be formed. The result is that phenylalanine converts into phenyl pyruvic acid. And both these substances, phenylalanine and phenyl pyruvic acid, they accumulate in blood. And they are then, you know, blood is filtered in the kidney. So then they are excreted in urine. Now, because this is an example, this is an example of pleiotropy. So it shows many symptoms. Many phenotypic traits will be affected. It will, what will be the symptoms of phenylalanine, phenylketonuria, because of non-conversion of phenylalanine into tyrosine? If first symptom is that it affects the brain. The brain development is affected. And because of this, there is severe mental retardation. Then, because melanin pigment is not being formed, there is reduced color of skin and hair. And it also leads to a problem in the skin called eczema. Eczema in skin is one result. So these are the different phenotypic characters which are affected by one single gene causing the problem phenylketonuria. It can be lethal, and this is because of an abnormal gene when it is in the homozygous recessive condition, that is from both parents. The recessive form of the gene is inherited. It is an inborn disorder. So this is one example. Now the next example that we are going to do is sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia, as the name itself suggests, is when the RBCs, that is the red blood cells, which are normally biconcave discs. The normal shape of red blood cells are biconcave. These biconcave discs become sickle shaped. That is, the biconcave discs are like this, they become sickle shaped like this. And this is because of, this is again an inherited disorder, inherited disease or disorder, because of homozygous recessive condition of the gene. Now, hemoglobin, the gene for hemoglobin, this is the dominant normal gene where normal RBCs will be produced, and this is the recessive form of the gene which causes sickle cell. And when it is in a homozygous recessive state, means both the alleles of the gene are like this, then only sickle cell anemia will be formed. So, and this mutant gene for sickle cell is results in the change of glutamic acid to valine. in the beta globin chain of hemoglobin. Beta globin chain of hemoglobin, there is substitution of glutamic acid by valine. Glutamic acid, which should be there, is substituted by valine, and this will result in a defective beta globin chain, and this will polymerize to form sickle shaped RBCs. And sickle shaped RBCs are unable to carry oxygen. They are unable to carry oxygen. You know, hemoglobin is a carrier of oxygen. It transports, it's the respiratory pigment, transports oxygen to various parts of the body. So if the RBC is sickle shaped, it is unable to carry oxygen. It leads to severe anemia and can lead to heart and kidney failure also. Can lead to heart and kidney failure also. So because of one gene, so many traits are being affected. So many traits are being affected because of one defective gene. And as I said, this is because of a homozygous recessive gene. And it is an inherited disease. So if the parents are heterozygous for sickle cell anemia, suppose these are the two parents, these are the two parents. If they are heterozygous, means they have one normal gene for hemoglobin and one is the recessive gene. So in this case, when this combines with this, a normal individual is produced, homozygous dominant. This is a heterozygous dominant individual that is produced. This combines with this, again a heterozygous individual is produced. This combines with this, then a homozygous recessive individual is produced. So these two are carriers. These two are carriers, and this is a sure case of sickle cell anemia. Now, sickle cell of the RBC is resistant to the malarial parasite. You know, malarial parasite Plasmodium infects the red. The malarial parasite Plasmodium affects the RBCs, and if the RBCs are sickle shaped, they are resistant to malaria. So the three combinations that we get here, this is a normal person. Normal person will be susceptible to malaria because the RBCs are biconcave. These are carriers. They appear normal, but they are carriers. They have some cells that are sickle shaped and some cells that are normal. So where density of air is less, oxygen is less, then they show the effect because enough oxygen cannot be carried. They are also resistant to malaria, and these are resistant to malaria, but because of these problems, this can be fatal for the person having this homozygous recessive gene for sickle cell. And this recessive gene is linked to the autosome. Autosome means the body chromosomes. The 22 pairs of chromosomes in a human being are autosomes, and one pair is sex chromosome. Like we have studied earlier that color blindness and hemophilia are sex-linked because of sex-linked genes found on the X chromosome. So we also call it X-linked inheritance. This is because of autosomal inheritance due to the homozygous recessive gene present on the autosome. So this is about sickle cell anemia. This was the second example, sickle cell anemia. Now we come to the third example, that is starch synthesis in peas. Third example is starch synthesis in peas. Now we are talking of pleiotropic gene. So the pleiotropic gene is that gene which is responsible for starch synthesis and also for seed shape. Same gene is controlling two phenotypic traits, synthesis of starch and the seed shape. So if the gene is homozygous dominant, if the gene for starch synthesis is present in homozygous dominant form, then enough starch will be produced and the seeds are round. Whereas if the gene is present, the pleiotropic gene is present in homozygous recessive form, both these factors, both these phenotypic traits are going to be affected. That is, starch synthesis will be reduced, will be less, and the shape of the seed instead of being round will become wrinkled. So in peas, this is a pleiotropic gene which is controlling two phenotypic factors. As we have defined a pleiotropic gene as that gene which expresses several phenotypic traits, and the phenomena that is because of a pleiotropic gene is called pleiotropy. So with these three examples, I have explained the phenomena of pleiotropy, and I think this much is enough for today. Now class, one thing that I really want to make clear to all of you, that we are doing this virtual schooling and what is being taught here is final. So attend the lectures regularly, revise what is being taught to you, make your notes, read the chapters from the books. Now the syllabus has also been reduced because teaching got affected. So the council has taken a major step to reduce the syllabus for you, which is there on the council side. I am following that syllabus. So now you take out a copy of the syllabus, keep it with you, and topic wise prepare your chapters. Solve questions given at the back and be thorough in each topic before you move to the next. Because as I told you, what is being taught now is final. We do not know, the scenario is not improving. Day by day we are listening to the news and we are coming to know that things are worsening. So let us not be at a loss. Make the most of what is being done for your benefit. So be serious. I have noticed all of you are not attending the lectures, you are not doing the questions which are given to you as assignment. So be serious, do the assignment, prepare yourself thoroughly. That's all. Take care. Good luck to all of you.